Continuing from the previous episode 272. Chapter 1201. Do It. Xiao Yan's eyes brightened because of the appearance of the essence flame of the 3000 burning flame. The old man Qing Hua, who had been observing from a short distance away, transformed into a blurry figure at this moment as he rushed to the essence flame with lightning-like speed. Xiao Yan slightly knit his eyebrows when he saw old demon Qing Hua react so quickly. His eyes flickered, but he did not act immediately. Although the essence flame had appeared, there were still 3 honorable elders from the Hall of Souls looking on with ill intent. It would not be easy to snatch this flame. Old demon Qing Hua's speed was extremely swift. Within a flash, he had appeared in front of the dark black fire dragon. A hot expression flashed across his eyes. A vast, mighty Do Chi surged out of his palms and grabbed the fire dragon. HMPH, you are seeking death. The Do Chi of old demon Qing Hua had just been summoned when a couple of cold cries suddenly sounded before he could even make contact with the essence flame. Immediately, a wave of rattling metal sounds was transmitted over. A dark, cold wind stuck to the back of old demon Qing Hua. Old demon Qing Hua slightly frowned upon sensing this vicious force. His body flashed, and he hurriedly dodged. After which, his eyes were ice-cold as he looked at the black-clothed person who had intervened. Other people are not allowed to encroach upon the things my Hall of Souls want. That black-clothed person coldly laughed. Over a dozen dark black chains lingered around his body like poisonous snakes. Sharp spiritual screeches continued to be transmitted from the chains. I will watch him. All of you should act and snatch the essence flame. The black-clothed person, who had attacked old demon Qing Hua, turned his head to the other 2 black-clothed Do Zuns. He spoke in a deep voice. Understood. Those 2 black-clothed Do Zuns also nodded upon hearing his words. After which, they rushed toward the essence flame. The expression of old demon Qing Hua changed slightly upon seeing the action of these 2 people. His foot had just stepped out when over a dozen dark black chains cut through the air. They carried a sharp, chilling aura that wrapped around all of his vital points. Bastard! Old Qing Hua immediately let out a quiet curse as these dark black chains rushed over. However, he did not dare to easily slight them. The Do Chi within his body surged out at this moment. Using his bare hands, he began a tough fight with that black-clothed Do Zun. While old demon Qing Hua was being pestered, those 2 black-clothed Do Zuns surrounded the dark black, small fire dragon one behind the other in front. Their eyes exchanged a glance with one another, and their fingers were flickered. 10 somewhat tiny, dark black chains rushed out of their sleeves with a clanging sound. After which, they ruthlessly rushed over to the essence flame of the 3000 burning flame. The size of the small fire dragon was still quite impressive, about 10 feet in size. Although its size was far inferior to its previous self, the vaguely present, destructive aura around it caused one to be afraid of underestimating it even a little. A fierce glint flashed over the eyes of the 3000 burning flame in the face of the combined attack of 2 black-clothed Do Zuns. Today, it had escaped the seal of the 3 great heads with much difficulty. It was unexpected that it had been forced to leave its actual body by the fierce individuals of the Hall of Souls just after it escaped. Puff! A dark black flame covered the entire body of the 3000 burning flame. It swung its dragon tail, which transformed into a black lightning. It rushed toward the black-clothed Do Zun in front of it. That black-clothed Do Zun was slightly shocked as he watched the 3000 burning flame retaliate. The fate of old Mu Jiu earlier had caused him to be afraid of underestimating the flame. Immediately, he swung his sleeves. Black fog surged and a countless number of dark black chains gathered together. They were just like a giant python as it violently collided with the 3000 burning flame. Clang clang clang. The violent collision between both parties caused sparks to shoot out. Immediately, wave after wave of clear metallic sounds appeared. The fierce chain python completely split apart after facing the 3000 burning flames attack. This beast is very strong. Although the heart of this black-clothed Do Zun was filled with caution, collapsing upon contact had somewhat exceeded his expectation. Immediately, his footsteps moved and his body hurriedly withdrew. However, he had just showed signs of withdrawing when the space wiggled. The dark black 3000 burning flame rushed out of the space. After which, it was accompanied by a destructive aura that shot toward the heart position of the black-clothed Do Zun, like an arrow released from a bow. This extremely fierce attack of the 3,000 burning flame had aroused a fierce aura within the heart of this black-clothed Dozun. Since when had he been forced into such a state during all these years? This fierce aura had just surged in his heart when the black-clothed Dozun suddenly clenched his right fist. A vast, mighty, dark black, chilly fog gushed of his body. After which, he threw out a merciless punch. Bang! The punch heavily collided with the fire dragon. A thunderous explosion resounded over the star region. A hot fire wave swept out in a lightning-like fashion. Grug! The expression of the black-clothed Dozun changed almost instantly following the collision between the two. A mouthful of bright red fresh blood was spat out. After this collision, he finally understood just how terrifying this 3,000 burning flame was. Although the 3,000 burning flame had been weakened after having experienced various battles, its annihilation strength still managed to destroy his defense in an easy manner within a mere instant. The feet of the black-clothed Dozun continuously stepped back. A moment later, he finally stabilized his body in a somewhat miserable manner. His face was covered in shock. No wonder old Mu Gu could not even receive a blow earlier. This destructive force was really too difficult to block. Although the black-clothed Dozun was seriously injured, the dark black flame of the 3,000 burning flame had also become much darker. Clearly, that attack from earlier had exhausted it. Attack, it will not be able to endure for long. That black-clothed Dozun wiped off the blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. He saw the flame on the body of the 3,000 burning flame suddenly become dimmer. A joy surged into his shocked eyes as he cried out to his companion. The other Dozun from the Hall of Souls also nodded upon hearing this. However, after prior experience, they were much more careful. He waved his sleeves and countless numbers of spirits, covered by black fog, appeared. After which, they surged toward the 3,000 burning flame from all directions. From the looks of it, he intended to use the soul explosion to completely exhaust the remaining strength of the 3,000 burning flame. Although this tactic was a vicious one, it must be said that it was quite effective. Under the suicidal charge of the countless number of spirits, the 3,000 burning flame could only continue to dodge. However, the deep black flame on its body was gradually becoming paler. It appeared to show signs of returning to the kind of purple-black flame of the past. The 3,000 burning flame continued to dodge the soul explosions as a furious roar reverberated through the air. Seeing this scene, old Mu Gu and the black-clothed Dozun, who had suffered a great loss to the hands of the 3,000 burning flame, also sighed in relief. If the four Dozuns were unable to deal with the 3,000 burning flame despite acting together, they would definitely be punished when they returned. Xiao Yan in the distance observed the 3,000 burning flame being forced to dodge by the tactics of the Dozuns from the Hall of Soul. His eyes slowly narrowed. Currently, he could sense the 3,000 burning flame growing weaker. Things are bad. It is unexpected that these people from the Hall of Souls would be this vicious. They use such a tactic to exhaust the strength of the 3,000 burning flame. If this continues, the 3,000 burning flame will likely land in their hands. Chu Ling by the side spoke in a deep voice with an unusually grave expression. Has teacher and the rest not freed themselves? Cao Ying knit her brows and asked. This star region cannot accommodate so many elite Dozuns. Originally, the star region should have collapsed soon after these people entered. However, from the looks of it, the three association heads are stabilizing it. I think that they should be able to split their attention and enter soon. Chu Ling replied, What should we do? The 3,000 burning flame looks like it will not be able to endure for long. Chen Dan softly asked, Leave it to me. This sudden laugh caused Chu Ling and the others to be startled. Their eyes immediately turned to Xiao Yan, only to see that he had a face full of smiles. First Elder Chu Ling, can I invite you to intervene and block old Mu Gu and the other injured Dozun from the Hall of Souls? Xiao Yan glanced around as he asked. Old Mu Gu and that black-clothed Dozun are seriously injured. It is not difficult to block them. Chu Ling hesitated before replying in a deep voice. KK, in that case, I will have to trouble First Elder Chu Ling with regards to the two of them. Leave the final Dozun from the Hall of Souls and the 3,000 burning flames to me. Xiao Yan slightly laughed. Can you handle it? Chu Ling was startled when he heard Xiao Yan's words. He immediately asked somewhat doubtfully. Although he did not have any comments about Xiao Yan's pill refinement ability, this was currently not pill refinement. Instead, it was a real battle. From the looks of the aura of the Dozun from the Hall of Souls, who was fighting the 3000 burning flame, he should be an expert whose strength had reached that of a 3-star Dozun. With Xiao Yan's strength, fighting him and dealing with the 3000 burning flame would not be a relaxing task. Xiao Yan smiled in the face of Chu Ling's doubt. He flicked his finger and a golden light suddenly rushed out of his storage ring. After which, it transformed into a golden human figure. It was surprisingly the Sky Demon puppet that had evolved after having experienced numerous pill lightning. Chu Ling was startled upon seeing this Sky Demon puppet with its golden luster. He slowly nodded. It was possible for him to sense a faint dangerous from it. Since you are confident, I will leave the 3000 burning flame and the Dozun from the Hall of Souls to you. It will naturally be best if you have the confidence to subdue the 3000 burning flame. Chu Ling deeply looked at Xiao Yan. He was naturally aware that Xiao Yan was extremely interested in the 3000 burning flame. Xiao Yan smiled as he nodded. He did not utter any additional unnecessary words. His feet stepped through empty space, and his body rushed in the direction of the Dozun from the Hall of Souls with lightning-like speed. The Sky Demon puppet by his side transformed into a golden glow that followed close behind. 3000 burning flame, you belong to me. A fiery heat that was difficult to hide flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he watched the small, black fire dragon. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 273. Chapter 1202. Seal, Xiao Yan, you are seeking death. Old Mu Jiyu had sensed Xiao Yan the moment his figure had flashed forward. Immediately, old Mu Gu's eyes turned chilly as he cried out in a stern manner. Xiao Yan neither heard nor bothered to deal with old Mu Gu's cry. He brought the Sky Demon puppet along and unleashed his speed to the maximum. He rushed toward the Dozun from the Hall of Souls who was blocking the 3000 burning flame. Kill him! An extremely deep killing intent surged into old Mu Gu's eyes when he saw Xiao Yan ignore his cries. After which, he cried in out a deep voice to the black-clothed Dozun, who had been injured by the 3000 burning flame earlier. That black-clothed Dozun nodded upon hearing old Mu Gu's cry. Those two rushed out at the same time. Their vast and mighty Do-Chi caused waves of ripples to appear. Kai, the bodies of the two had just moved a short distance when the space in front of them distorted. A figure slowly appeared and blocked these two. Chu Ling, get lost! Old Mu Gu's face turned chilly as he cried out when he saw Chu Ling appearing in front of him. Chu Ling merely let out a cold laugh in the face of old Mu Gu's chilly cry. He did not utter any unnecessary words. The Do-Chi within his body was unleashed without being held back. After which, his body moved, and he hurried toward old Mu Jiyu. Old Mu Gu's expression slightly changed upon seeing Chu Ling hurry over. In his current state, he was no match for Chu Ling. His eyes immediately slid to the black-clothed Dozun by his side. He suggested in a deep voice, "Let's attack together and take care of this old fellow." Understood. That black-clothed Dozun also nodded upon hearing this. He was also badly injured. The special annihilation strength of the 3000 burning flame had caused the inside of his body to be seriously injured. With his current condition, he was unable to fight with Chu Ling on his own. It was the best choice for the two of them to fight together. A cold smile flashed across Chu Ling's eyes when he saw old Mu Gu's group attack together. He did not withdraw. Instead, he approached them with an even fiercer stance. The black-clothed Dozun engaged in an intense battle with old demon Qinghua also sensed when Xiao Yan's group acted. His expression quickly changed as he tried to escape the battle. However, old demon Qinghua continued to pester him. "Oh, how unlucky. I met that old fellow Yao Chen back then when searching for a heavenly flame. Now, I have met his disciple while doing the same thing. Forget it. Perhaps the old me does not possess that kind of fate. This time around, I shall help this little fellow on the account of my friendship with Yao Chen." Old demon Qinghua glanced at Xiao Yan, who had rushed toward the 3000 burning flame. He quietly sighed in his heart before he charged forward. Do-Chi surged as he firmly pestered that black-clothed Dozun. A continuous black fog surged out of the sleeves of the last Hall of Souls dozun in all directions. The interior of the black fog appeared to be filled with an innumerable number of souls. They poured down like a storm, after which, they exploded on the fire body of the 3,000 burning flame, causing the dark black flame to ripple. Soon, this 3,000 burning flame will not be able to endure for much longer. The hearts of those dozuns from the Hall of Souls sighed in relief as they watched the retreating purple-black flame of the 3,000 burning flame. However, just when he was about to unleash a soul to self-destruct, an unusually terrifying wind suddenly appeared behind him, causing his expression to change. Clang! While his expression had undergone a drastic change, the clothes on his back tore and black fog agglomerated into a chain that violently rushed out. After which, a wave of clear metallic sounds resonated through the air. Bang! Although the chain had blocked the attack, the remnant force still shook this dozun from the Hall of Souls until he took 2 continuous steps back. Only then did he stabilize his body. His expression was dark and cold as he raised his head, only to see a golden-colored figure standing where he had withdrew from. Brat, are you tired of living? The dozun from the Hall of Souls swept his eyes around. He saw the sky demon puppet standing behind Xiao Yan as he questioned him in cold voice. Attack! Xiao Yan faintly glanced at the dozun before softly commanding, bang! After his voice sounded, the sky demon puppet's feet immediately pushed against empty air. Zhao Yan could hear a slight muffled sound, and the puppet appeared in front of the dozun from the Hall of Souls with lightning-like speed. It raised his golden-colored metal fist and created a terrifying wind that violently smashed toward the dozun's head. The expression of the dozun from the Hall of Souls slightly changed when he saw the crumbling space where the sky demon puppet's fist passed. He did not dare to slide it as he hurriedly used all of his strength to meet it. Bang! Xiao Yan only smiled the instant he saw the dozun from the Hall of Souls fighting with the sky demon puppet. His head turned to the 3,000 burning flame a short distance away. At this moment, the flame on its body appeared a little dim. However, Xiao Yan discovered that waves of star strength were seeping out of the surrounding empty space. After which, they were absorbed by the 3,000 burning flame into its body. Following the pouring in of this star strength, the flame on its body gradually grew stronger. It is indeed worthy of being an undying flame. Xiao Yan felt a little awe in his heart upon seeing this scene. There was indeed a reason why this 3,000 burning flame was called an undying flame. If it continued to absorb the strength of the stars, it was likely that it would recover its strength within a short while. At that time, it would be extremely difficult to deal with it. It must not be allowed to continue to absorb the strength of the stars. Xiao Yan stepped through empty space as this thought flashed across his heart. He flashed and appeared in front of the 3,000 burning flame. A jade-green flame slowly surged out of his body, after which, it completely wrapped around the 3,000 burning flame. The eyes of the 3,000 burning flame were ice-cold as it looked at Xiao Yan in front of it. By the time the jade-green flame rose, its eyes had become a little stunned. Immediately, a desire that had never appeared before suddenly appeared in its eyes. Although it didn't know just what the jade-green flame was after having been sealed for so many years, its instincts told it that if it could devour the flame, it would no longer need to be afraid of the 3 great heads of the pill tower. The expression of desire in the eyes of the 3,000 burning flame was also captured in Xiao Yan's eyes. He involuntarily shook his head. Back then, when the fallen heart flame was looking at him, it also felt this emotion. The only difference was that the fallen heart flame did not display its desire as prominently as the 3,000 burning flame. Whether you can devour my heavenly flame will be determined by your ability. Xiao Yan laughed. A silver glow flashed under his feet and a thunderous roar resounded through the air. He appeared above the head of the 3,000 burning flame in a ghost-like fashion. After which, his fist, surrounded by the jade-green flame, was violently smashed toward the 3,000 burning flame's head. Faced with this attack by Xiao Yan, the 3,000 burning flame, which was in a disadvantageous position, was unwilling to withdraw. It swung its dragon tail and heavily smashed against Xiao Yan's fist. Bang! 2 waves of flames were pressed into arcs as the two collided. After which, a wind surged and shook the space until dark black fissures appeared. The fierce and powerful strength caused Xiao Yan and the 3,000 burning flame to withdraw some distance. After which, the 3,000 burning flame roared at the sky. It widened its dragon's mouth and an extremely terrifying purple-black fire pillar shot toward Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan let out a cold laugh when he saw the fire pillar being shot over. He was indeed no match for the 3,000 burning flame at its peak. Unfortunately, its current condition was no longer even 1/10 of its peak. The fire pillar swiftly expanded in Xiao Yan's eyes. It was about to enter a 10-foot region around his body when a thought passed through Xiao Yan's heart. The glazed lotus heart flame surged out of his body. Immediately, it transformed into a raging wall of fire. Bang! The purple-black flame violently struck the jade-green wall of fire. The two heavenly flames had finally collided head-on. They wildly unleashed their terrifyingly destructive strengths. The fire pillar swiftly rose into waves of ripples. However, regardless of how the 3,000 burning flame burned, the jade-green wall of fire continued to remain stable. The stalemate between the two continued for around 10 minutes or so before the purple-black fire pillar finally began to gradually weaken due to the exhaustion of the 3,000 burning flame. A glow flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he looked at the somewhat sluggish 3,000 burning flame. The jade-green wall of fire suddenly scattered. At the same time, a jade bottle appeared in his hand. It was thrown at the purple-black fire pillar that had yet to completely scatter. Bang bang! The jade bottle burst apart on contact with the 3,000 burning flame. A snow-white colored liquid shot out of it. Chi! The liquid had just made contact with the purple-black flame when it suddenly erupted into waves of white fog. An icy cold bone-chilling flow was present within the fog. Although the white fog swiftly scattered because of the purple-black flame, Xiao Yan had undoubtedly added to the misery of the 3,000 burning flame. The dark black flame on its body completely changed into the purple-black color of the past. It's now. The moment the dark black flame lingering on the 3,000 burning flame transformed back into a purple-black color, a glint suddenly flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes. A lightning glow flashed under his feet and he disappeared in a strange manner amid rippling space. By the time he appeared, he was already above the head of the 3,000 burning flame. Xiao Yan clenched his hand after appearing. Another tiny jade bottle appeared in his hand. After which, it was thrown by him with lightning-like speed. It violently struck the forehead of the 3,000 burning flame. It broke with a bang, and a drop of dark golden blood slowly appeared. The body of the 3,000 burning flame immediately stiffened when the drop of dark golden blood touched its forehead. The expression in its eyes revealed a dullness. At the same time, a strange seal vaguely surfaced on its forehead. From the looks of the seal, it was the same as the dragon seal on Xiao Yan's palm. It is indeed the dragon seal. A wild joy flashed across Xiao Yan's face when he saw the strange symbol on the forehead of the 3,000 burning flame. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 274. Chapter 1203, Soul Battle. Xiao Yan, who was in a state of wild joy, discovered that the dragon seal on his hand had gradually become hot soon after that strange symbol appeared on the forehead of the 3,000 burning flame. At the same time, an extremely mysterious feeling suddenly appeared in his heart. Xiao Yan felt stunned soon after this mysterious feeling appeared. He stared at the 3,000 burning flame in front of him, and he seemed to be able to sense its emotion. Roar! The 3,000 burning flame was dull for a moment once the symbol appeared, but it once again recovered its cautiousness while Xiao Yan was feeling shocked. At this moment, it appeared to have understood something. An ice-cold, fierce glint suddenly flashed as it firmly stared at Xiao Yan. The symbol on its forehead also grew brighter. Xiao Yan's heart was cold when he saw the fierce glint that filled the eyes of the 3,000 burning flame. He was aware that he would be in a dangerous situation soon. It was just as Zi Yan had said. This dragon seal worked both ways. If he was unable to control the 3,000 burning flame, he would be controlled by it. This was something that Xiao Yan would not allow to happen regardless of what happens. Come, I want to see just how fierce you are. At this moment, only one of the two would survive. Xiao Yan was not some random person. Immediately, a fierce glow surged into his eyes. He had already swallowed 2 heavenly flames. Would he not be able to deal with this 3,000 burning flame? Roar! The 3,000 burning flame raised its head and let out a roar. The seal on its forehead suddenly emitted a golden light. It was just like a dazzling golden sun that had risen within the star region. Following the brightening of the symbol on the forehead of the 3000 burning flame, the mysterious feeling within Xiaoyan's heart became more clear. A moment later, his eyes suddenly became dazzled. He was absent-minded. When he appeared again, he was in an extremely foreign space. This space was filled with purple-black flames, and Xiaoyan was present in these endless flames. Foolish human! A furious dragon roar was suddenly transmitted from the purple-black flames. A wild wind whizzed by and an unusually large dragon slowly rose from the sea of fire. It lingered in the sky while it watched Xiaoyan, who was standing in the sea of flames. Xiaoyan's eyes focused on the large dragon within the purple-black flames. A moment later, he inhaled a breath of hot air. He clearly understood that this was the spiritual world of the 3000 burning flame. It wanted to dominate the dragon seal and control Xiaoyan in the process. A soul battle, huh? Xiaoyan raised his hand. He glanced at the somewhat illusionary palm while his face was as rippleless as an old well. A thought passed through Xiaoyan's heart. A vast, mighty spiritual strength formed a lotus seat under his body. After which, he sat cross-legged. His dark black eyes stared at the 3000 burning flame within the sea of fire as he coldly laughed. Beast, show me what you've got. Roar! The 3000 burning flame immediately emitted a furious roar. Under this roar, the purple-black flames within this space wildly soared. After which, they surged toward Xiaoyan from all directions with extremely shocking momentum. Xiaoyan's expression was unusually calm when faced with this wild attack from the 3000 burning flame. At this moment, they were not only fighting with their souls, but also with their wills. Whoever could last until the end would be the final victor. These years of training had forged Xiaoyan into an unmoving mountain of toughness and calmness. It was impossible to tell just who would die in whose hand if they were to really engage in an all-out fight. The purple-black flames rushed over as a circular jade-green fire barrier slowly spread out of Xiaoyan's body. Finally, the jade-green flame transformed into a round cover that wrapped around his body. He appeared just like an unmoving mountain regardless of how the purple-black flames collided with him. The battle that would decide the fates of the two had just begun. Cao Ying and the rest in distant empty space revealed faces that were filled with anxiety and doubt as they looked into the distance. Xiaoyan had suddenly ceased all actions. His eyes were shut tight. Moreover, the thing that really surprised them was the purple-black fire dragon in front of him. At this moment, that extremely fierce fellow had descended into a strange silence. Its body had surfaced in the air. If some life force had not been emitted from the bodies of the person and the dragon, it was likely that others would have wondered if these two had suddenly lost their lives. What happened? Cao Ying knit her brows as she softly asked. They seem to have changed their fighting method. I am able to sense Xiaoyan maneuvering an extremely great amount of spiritual strength. The 3000 burning flame is also showing some activity in this area. I think that it should be a soul battle. Dan Chen softly said by the side. Soul battle? Cao Ying's expression changed slightly upon hearing her words. One could only engage in a soul battle if one's spiritual strength had reached a certain level. However, this kind of battle was too fierce. If one were careless, irreparable damage could occur to one's soul. Moreover, it might even cause one's spiritual strength to gradually weaken. Hence, even some true experts with powerful spiritual strengths did not dare to engage in a soul battle. However, it is pointless to worry now. Disturbing either one of them at this moment would result in a backlash. The results will be extremely serious. We can only wait for it to naturally end. Dan Chen said. Cao Ying tightly frowned. However, she could not think of a solution. All she could do was quietly sigh within her heart. When Cao Ying's group discovered the strange condition of Xiaoyan and the 3000 burning flame, old Mu Jiyu and the others also sensed it. They were immediately startled. Although they were unaware of why Xiaoyan would suddenly engage in a soul battle with the 3000 burning flame, they understood that now was a good opportunity to act. As long as they interrupted the face-off between Xiaoyan and the 3000 burning flame, both of them would suffer a backlash, killing two birds with one stone. You will stop him. I will attack. Old Mu Jiyu clenched his teeth and yelled as a glint flashed across his eyes. That black-clothed Do Zun, who was bitterly battling with Chu Ling, hesitated for a moment upon hearing this. He could only violently nod. There was not enough time. They could only withdraw if they did not gain anything. Old Mu Gu immediately flew off. Chu Ling's expression sank when he saw old Mu Gu attempt to flee from the battle. He was just about to give chase when the somewhat weary Do Zun unleashed an extremely crazy counterattack, pulling Chu Ling's focus back to the battle. Cao Ying, stop him! Chu Ling's expression changed after being delayed by the black-clothed Do Zun, who was using all his effort. Cao Ying and the others hurriedly nodded upon hearing his cry. Their bodies had just moved when the two experts from the Hall of Souls, who had gotten into the top 10 along with old Mu Gu, rushed over and blocked the three of them. At this moment, everyone had been delayed. Hence, all they could do was watch with their eyes as old Mu Gu swiftly pounced toward Xiaoyan and the 3,000 burning flame. Tisk tisk, Xiaoyan, you have created a great opportunity for the old me. A ferocious smile flashed across old Mu Gu's eyes as he looked at Xiaoyan and the 3,000 burning flame from close proximity. A deep blue flame surged out of his palm, after which, it slammed violently toward the top of Xiaoyan's head. Bang! Just when old Mu Gu was about to attack, an unusually vast and mighty force suddenly cut through the air and violently smashed into old Mu Gu's chest. Grug! This sudden, heavy blow caused old Mu Gu's face to turn pale. A mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Immediately, shock surged into his eyes as he sharply cried out, Zon Kongzi. The Hall of Souls really acts in a great manner. It has actually dispatched so many experts this time around. Old Mu Gu's sharp voice had just sounded when an ice-cold elderly voice slowly reverberated through the empty space. A slight ripple appeared within space itself when the elderly voice sounded. Immediately, a figure slowly appeared. The delay outside has failed. Scatter. Old Mu Gu's eyes suddenly shrank upon seeing that it was indeed Zon Kongzi. He clenched his teeth and immediately cried out. Since Zon Kongzi had appeared, they were completely without hope. The cry had just sounded when old Mu Gu swiftly took out a silver-colored jade plate from his storage ring. He shattered it without any hesitation. A majestic spatial strength surged out and a dark black spatial crack appeared. Zon Kongzi had just appeared when the remaining three Do Zuns from the Hall of Souls' expressions drastically changed. There was no need for old Mu Gu's reminder. Their jade plates appeared, and a couple of spatial crevices swiftly appeared when they were broken. Since you have come, leave some souvenirs behind. A cold smile immediately flashed across Zon Kongzi's face as he watched the four Hall of Souls Do Zuns quickly run. He clenched his fist and smashed at the four of them across space. Grug! His punch pulled through space. As the space around his fist crumbled, four unusually terrifying, invisible fist imprints penetrated space itself. They landed on the chests of the four people after appearing from extremely strange directions. Immediately, the sound of bones cracking apart appeared. Four bright red blood foams were spat out of their mouths along with some shattered internal organs. After which, their bodies launched into the spatial cracks, using the terrifying force on the fists to disappear. Four Do Zuns were defeated with a punch. This strength was indeed worthy of being one of the three great heads of the Pill Tower. Zon Kongzi had frightened off the four Do Zuns from the Hall of Souls after just showing his face. He was just about to speak when his expression suddenly changed. It was possible to see the incomparably large, purple dragon swelling at this moment. The purple-black flame was like a volcano that continued to erupt. The 3,000 burning flame is about to erupt. Even with Zon Kongzi's calmness, he could not help but gently inhale a break of air as he looked at the swiftly swelling body. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.